Hi everyone, author Alice Brown, Lady V here. We are bringing you some information today. As many of you know, we recently had a workcation up in New Jersey. Prior to that, we have gained several new followers here recently, and so we wanted to take a moment, because it's something that I don't do very often. I probably should, and I just, it slips my mind, to kind of tell you what we're all about, just in case you're new and you're not sure. We're a mother-daughter author team. Our books are back behind us, and the link to all those books are down below. You can get them in ebook format and just about any of them, iBook, iTunes, Nook, Amazon, whatever. You can also get it in paperbacks right off our website, so please keep that in mind. If you like our videos, consider joining. If you haven't, hit that bell so it'll alert you to when we put a new video up. We're currently working on videos on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So without further ado, let's get into today's video.
Our first Chatty Wednesday.
Chatty Wednesday, yes. And we're going to talk about, I'm calling this the good, bad, and ugly of our vacation, or the good, bad, and ugly of our workcation in New Jersey. The reason we've been back a little while now, probably almost 2 weeks.
Almost 2 weeks. Yeah.
And it's taken me some time to be able to talk about it, because when we first got back, we originally were going to film this on the car ride home, and I was not in the mood to do it, and I didn't have too much good to say, and so I decided to hold and give myself a chance to sort through my feelings to see exactly where, if I was just letting the bad overshadow the good, and I was. Now that I've let enough time go by and process everything, and I really took the time to, stop and think, go, hey, Alice, it wasn't all bad whatsoever. There were some really good parts to it. So I think I've got the right frame of mind to talk about this, and here we go. So the first show, we went up there for 2 shows. So it's probably, we were calling it a workcation, because we were going up there as like a writing retreat. We had 2 shows scheduled, and then do some sightseeing also, which included some shopping at Dollar Tree, of course. Yeah. But the first show started off on a really, really bad note that had nothing to do with the show whatsoever, other than just timing, and that the apartment we were staying in, 5 minutes after we got up to go to this show, and we got up at what, 4:30 or something? It was incredibly early.
I was up at 4:15.
Yeah, incredibly early, because we had to be there so early, and we were like 2 hours away from where the show was.
We were staying in Nutley, New Jersey, and the shows were down in LBI at the beach.
Long Beach Island, right?
Long Beach Island.
So the electricity went out in the entire block. So we literally were, washing our face and brushing our teeth with a flashlight in the bathroom. There was no way we could put on a drop of makeup, do anything with our hair. We both looked like something that, the cat drug in or a Mack truck ran over by the time we walked out the door. We had no choice. We got down there and discovered that the tropical storm, what was it? Elsa. It had come through. We actually outran that storm. We left early so that we wouldn't get stuck in it down here in North Carolina, but it followed us straight on up. If you've watched any of the news or anything, the New York subway flooded horribly during that storm. It was a lot of water, but down at the beach where the show was, is it a baseball field? Yeah, it was a field. Was completely flooded. I mean, I'm talking, to get to the bathroom, you had to walk through water that covered your shoes. So
we rednecked it.
Yes, we did. We popped our shoes off. We did that show barefooted. We were very lucky in that we were one of the few that had a decent spot where at least we were not standing in water at the booth all day. So we were very, very fortunate on that. Others were not so fortunate. We just took our shoes off and put them out in the sun to dry and did the show barefooted. And, while everybody else was complaining, Lady V and I were sitting there going, we're from the country and we like it that way. So that unfortunately started off the whole show on the wrong foot, and we tried desperately to get the momentum back And I don't think we ever did, to be perfectly honest with you. That show has been changed up due to all the restrictions for the past year and a half from the sickness. And if any of you are wondering why I'm not coming out and calling it the name, it's because we're not allowed to on YouTube. This whole thing would get yanked down if I did. So
YouTube is very strict on
so we can't call it. So the sickness is what we'll call it. And because of the problems coinciding with all that, that show has been moved where we were right on the beach 2 years ago. It's now across the street and down a ways, a couple blocks. And so we missed all the beach traffic. And a lot of the people that went by were they didn't want to be bothered. They were there to walking, riding their bike, exercising, jogging, whatever have you, and they literally did not want to be bothered. And what got me really, and this is what really left a really sour taste in my mouth, was the number of people that I would call out, "Good morning, ladies," in my southern way. And the looks I got back, if it was, if they could have killed, I would have dropped dead. I mean, it was very
why are you talking
ugly,
to me?
very, very ugly. Now, that's not to say that was everybody, because it was not by any means whatsoever. But there was enough of them that it got to us. It really did.
It was really shocking.
It was, because we were there 2 years ago and we did not experience this at all. Again, the people that did stop at the booth, we had some really wonderful conversations, meeting you. If any of you are watching this now, we loved meeting you. We had a great time. But it just really surprised me that the whole different atmosphere down there up there rather, because I'm back home now, up there from 2 years ago. So I was kind of surprised. The second show was actually worse, if you really want to get down to it. And I hate to say this, but it was. Second show was,
for multiple reasons.
Yeah, it was at the Jewish Community Center there at Long Beach Island, and it was extremely hot. Now, they had decided early on, well before the show, that because of the sickness and problems, that their inside building was not going to be available. Okay, I can respect that. I really can. So those vendors that were usually inside were given a spot outside. Again, I fully understand that. And they did announce ahead of time that they usually sell food indoors, that there would be no food, and unfortunately, no bathrooms. That I ran into an issue with. When you're a vendor and you have to be there all day long, they brought in literally 2 very inexpensive porta potties, and that was all for anybody. In that regard, I guess I could say I'm thankful that not a lot of people showed up, because I can imagine what those porta potties would have looked like mid-afternoon if they had usually had the crowd there that usually had it.
At the same time, I would have appreciated it a little bit better if they had spent just a little extra money to get the ones with, like the hand washing stand and everything.
Yeah,
these were your bottom of the line.
Yeah, I've been in some porta potties. We've done enough outside shows. It happens. You end up having to use them. I don't like them, but
is there anybody that likes them?
I don't think so. But there's different levels of them. There, you've got your bottom level, and then from there it goes up, and the higher up you go, the more amenities that comes with it, and the better they are. The other thing that really got me was the heat index up there that day was
excruciating. It had to have been in the hundreds.
Yeah, it was really, really miserable. And their building that we were all around, you could hear the air conditioners coming on and off because the workers were coming inside to cool off while the rest of us were sitting out sweating to death. That didn't go over too well. And then we ran into a problem with Lady V and her little mouth.
My father is a prior sailor. I'm going to say that as a disclaimer before we go any further than this.
There is no filter on this child's mouth whatsoever. Mid-afternoon, they decided to come by selling water to vendors. And when we were charged good money to get in there, the money that we were charged, the crowd should have been somewhere around 2,000 to 3,000 people. and minimum, of
300.
2,000. And if we had 300 people there, we were lucky. It pretty much turned into vendors buying from vendors, and that was pretty much it. There wasn't a whole lot of other buying that I saw whatsoever from anybody. So to charge that kind of money when we're out in the heat, I think the least you could do is take a little bit of money out of the money we've paid you as vendors and go around and offer us a free bottle of water. That's, you can get this water at Costco, Sam's, in cases for next to nothing. And as they're walking by, there was two little girls that couldn't have been more than maybe 6 or 7 years old, pulling these extremely heavy, great big coolers while a lady was just walking out ahead of them yelling, water for sale, whatever. And this one here opened her mouth and went, "Oh my God, I can't believe that lady is making those poor little girls tote all that water, and it's so hot out." And the lady heard her, and she came over.
I'm not exactly quiet when I get upset.
She came over to the booth, got in Lady V's face. "Let me tell you something, young lady. Those girls I'm not forcing those girls to do it. They asked to do it." And we were like, and of course, by this time we were hot. She's not in a good mood. And she's like, "Yes, well, she worked for the center." And the lady that got in her face, and she said, "Yes, well, I also don't think it's fair that you even charge us for water. The least you could do is offer us a bottle of water." So that left a very sour, that left a very sour note on everybody's face. On top of the show being a total flop because just nobody showed, and I don't know the reason for that. But when we went to leave, because of the setup and the way everything was, it's almost impossible to get your car in there to get it loaded up. So we had to make multiple trips down the street, around the block to where our car was parked.
I would say it was anywhere between a quarter to half a mile of walking back and forth, loading things up.
Lugging heavy, items, and
tables, tent, chairs,
we were so
boxes
exhausted.
of books, boxes of mugs. You can imagine that gets heavy after a while, especially when you're already dealing with heat exhaustion.
Yeah, and we did suffer heat exhaustion. I looked up the symptoms after we got back that night and had finally calmed down and were feeling better, and we had every one of the symptoms. We definitely were suffering from heat exhaustion. So in that light, that show we are not putting back on our schedule. So we'll have to find something else next year to take the place of that. But that's the not good stuff. Now let's get on some of the other stuff. The food up there 2 years ago when we went up there was phenomenal. I could not believe the number of good restaurants up there, the good food we had. It was just second to none. And I came back and raved about it, about how North Carolina restaurants could take a page off their book and really provide something.
The service is still really good up there.
Yes,
the waiters and waitresses really dote on their customers and do as much as they can to take care of you.
Yeah, and it was very, very obvious in numerous places that they were short-staffed, and I felt so sorry. But so when I say something against the restaurant itself, it really has nothing to do with the service, or the employees, because they were second to none in every case. They were really they were trying their best. You could tell they were overworked. And I'm venturing to say very underpaid, but they were doing the very best they can, and we greatly appreciate it. The quality of the food would be my only drawback, and that was hit and miss. There was some that had not changed at all, that was great. The Nutley Diner, which was right down the street from the apartment that we were staying at, and I couldn't see where it had changed one bit. It was excellent.
No, definitely not. I mean, the portions were big 2 years ago when we were up there, and they were still massive at every place we went while we were up there.
The Holston's.
Holston's was really good.
Is that Holston's Diner? Holston's restaurant?
It's technically titled Holston's Ice Cream Shop.
Okay, all right. But they do sell food there. They sell burgers and sandwiches and all kinds of hot dogs and all kinds of stuff. And that is the place where the last Sopranos,
last episode
of The Sopranos was taped. So they've got that table where it was taped, usually blocked off, and the
The jukebox.
The jukebox that Tony Soprano was going through, and I think somebody during that scene had ordered onion rings during the show. And
the
so
onion rings are excellent.
Yes, yeah. If you ever get there,
get ice cream and onion rings.
Yeah, excellent.
Don't eat them together. That probably wouldn't be a really good taste. Onions with ice cream, but I mean, you might like it.
But it really was good. So yeah, there was some definite good hits, but it wasn't the complete good that we had seen 2 years ago. But I am hoping that maybe after everything is over with and we can finally get over this sickness and everything does open up 100%, I'm hoping that the places that weren't as good will pick back up and go back to being excellent. So, Montclair. Let's talk about Montclair.
Oh, Montclair's a very nice place to go visit.
Yes.
It's a cute little town.
We got to visit a used bookstore. Lady V had been into this bookstore before when she'd been up there.
Multiple times. My fiance had taken me to Montclair and we'd gone book shopping. Their design is really nice in the store. They have it to where you can go upstairs to one flight and then there's an even higher upstairs. It's almost like at the rafters of the building, which is where all your like historical books are. Your not school books, but like just historical literature, not fiction. They're up there, and then there's a place where you go downstairs, almost like a basement, and that's where they keep old vinyl, and it's really cute.
Yeah, for being, I mean, any of your towns up there that I saw, at least in New Jersey, your buildings are very close together, and so when you're talking about a small building and a bookstore, you're like, how in the world are you going to do this? But they have done a great job of layering it and doing it in different levels so that they can get everybody in there.
And yes, we did buy books. Yes, there is a haul coming. So hit subscribe so you will, and the bell icon so you'll get notified.
We have not taped
when
that.
We do that.
We have not taped that one, but it is on the queue and coming up soon. So, do you remember the name of the place that we went for lunch that day?
It was Montclair House Grill.
House Grill. And they had some pretty good food. I must admit, I was pretty impressed with them. We ate outside that day. It was beautiful.
We had some kind of Philly cheesesteak panini, and that was really good.
It was really good. Your fiance had a salad with shrimp, avocado, and it looked. I tasted a couple bites. It was really good.
It was good, yeah.
That was good. The nice thing that I loved about that town was just the whole vibe. Yeah. That really had a really nice vibe.
It's got a nice, like, little snazzy vibe.
Yeah, it does. We were there on a Sunday afternoon, and here in North Carolina, if you hit downtown anything on a Sunday afternoon, it's deserted. All your offices are dead because they're closed. It's a Sunday. There's hardly anybody around. Our own little town here, if I were to go down on a Saturday or Sunday, there's nothing going on, especially a Sunday. But this place was hopping. I was really amazed at how busy it was.
People were very
People
friendly.
were everywhere, and people walking everywhere. They've got nice sidewalks, and just the whole vibe of it was really good.
Now, what was the one thing that you found in Montclair that you fell in love with?
Oh, her fiance introduced me to Italian gelato.
Italian ice cream.
And I fell in love with it. That stuff was so good. And I was shocked when I came home and went to my local grocery store and just happened to see it sitting in the freezer section. I'm like, oh my God, I can get it here in North Carolina.
Not as good because the one we had was handmade.
It was homemade, yeah, and this is not, but it's good. If you've not tried it, it's, Lady V describes it as a combination of ice cream and icing mixed together. It's got the
smooth consistency of icing.
Yes.
But it's cold and sweet like ice cream.
Very, very good. You will not go wrong with it. It's excellent. Try it. Try some if you get a chance to. So, friendly people, nice vibe. Yeah, Montclair was excellent town. We really enjoyed visiting that Sunday that we were there. Now, another town that we thoroughly enjoyed, and this was not my first visit there at all, we went there 2 years ago, is Hoboken, New Jersey. Hoboken sits right across the Hudson River from New York. As a matter of fact, there's a train, it's called The Path, that I didn't even know existed, and my soon-to-be son-in-law was filling me in on all the information that goes from Hoboken over to New Jersey, because so many people work over there but live in Hoboken because it's obviously cheaper. Yeah, but Hoboken is a really, really hopping town. I love that town.
Hoboken has done really good in the past few years, that they've taken a lot of the older buildings. I mean, to look at the outside, you would think that it's nothing, but they've really gone in and renovated. They've taken these old, almost like warehouse type buildings, and turned them into multi-apartment complexes. And they've really gotten creative. They've gotten very creative with the amount of size, because you have so many people that work in New York and live in Hoboken. So they've done an excellent job.
They've done an excellent job. I love the park. There's a park that runs right along the Hudson River on the Hoboken side, that a lot of people go to exercise, to jog. There's a playground there for kids. It's just a wonderful, wonderful area. There's areas where you can sit and read, and just really, really nice.
Yep. You rent bikes and scooters down there. They're everywhere for you just to rent and go for a bike ride.
I also, while I was down there, because I actually took notes as we were walking around and driving around, they're having an outdoor movie night somewhere down by the river on Wednesday nights. It's called Under the Stars. And I just thought that was such a cool idea. It's a family family thing that you can go and take your lawn chairs or your blankets or whatever. And I thought that was really, really cool. I know a couple other towns here in North Carolina, unfortunately we're not near them, that do this, and I just think that's a fantastic idea.
Well, there's one down at the beach.
Yeah, there's one down at the beach.
There's it's across the street from the actual beach, and then there's like a little park and a fountain, and they do the video right there at the fountain. It's really cute.
I've seen a couple advertisements from small towns, like in the middle of the state, that do it. So I know there are a few places that do it. But as I said, we originally came across this little town 2 years ago, and it immediately grabbed my interest. And so I started taking notes then and taking pictures, and we came up with a series for our writing called Monster Mob, that we have plans of putting in Hoboken, New Jersey. That will be where the book is located at. We have not written this story yet. We've started. Yeah. We've got part of book 1 written.
We've got notes down for about 5 books.
From multiple, so it will be a complete new series. But while I was there, and when we were outside enjoying some pizza, Benny Tadino's is a pizza
and their
place.
Pizza slices are about
they're huge.
Yay big.
Yeah. Matter of fact, we'll be showing some pictures above here of our stay, so hope you enjoy them.
I've got a picture somewhere of the book. Yeah, I've got a picture of the Sci-Fi book laying next to the slice of pizza, just to show a comparison to size.
But while we were there enjoying our meal, Lady V and I came across an idea of actually going ahead and introducing some of those Monster Mob characters into the current Dragonos book that we're working on while they're here on Earth, and having that portion of the book in Hoboken, New Jersey. So that is what we are currently working on. And so when you read that book, and you're going to see names like the Malibu Diner and the Rooster Coffee Shop, and
the Roost, not the Rooster.
The Roost. I'm sorry, the Roost Coffee Shop.
Northern, not Southern.
I know, the Roost. I'm sorry. Johnny Rockets Burgers and Shakes, Benny Tadino's Pizza. These are actually places that that I just found very fascinating and decided to put them in the book series. So just to give you a little background of what's to come on our next book that we're working on. So that's really all that I had to go on. Do you have anything else to add?
No, I think that covers the good, the bad, and ugly. Yeah, unfortunately, we did not have Clint Eastwood here to help with it.
I know.
Good, bad, the ugly in the movie.
Yeah. Hoboken was another town that I did not get any bad vibes from whatsoever. Everybody was having a good time. Nice. Everybody was out exercising, walking, talking, shopping, whatever have you. And that, and I was so glad to see that. That and Montclair both were two towns that were just, they weren't letting anything stop them. They were continuing living life. And I was very happy to see that. So that concludes this video. We hope you enjoyed it. And we will see you next time. Have a great day.